Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know that you have, let's see, this is your house, you know that's right out here is where you have your septic, right?
Yeah, of course yeah, that's why I had it all marked up.
Yeah, well, see, Tony, the guy
Yeah.
that built this house,
Okay.
did that septic himself. He did not get a permit or anything like that, so I just want you to know. It's been many years ago, but still.
Yeah, I have a history here for sure.
Oh,
So
so
my neighbors, Russ, again, in White Oaks Banks, Tony Silverine, Zephyr.
About what?
This guy Zephyr.
Who's that?
Zephyr used to live.
Oh, that's Tony then.
Good.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, at this time I would call to order this meeting, and the first one is 2024-38. And again, how do you pronounce your last name?
Kamorlinga.
Kamorlinga.
Yes.
And this is a continuation, is that correct?
Yes.
And from the county's perspective, do we have any new evidence?
Yes, a new site plan was sent in, and I'll bring it up on the screen here so that you can see where the difference was. So the proposed garage has been shifted back a little bit so that the wall is at 5 feet with a 2-foot overhang, so it would be approximately 3 feet from the front property line. So they are now requesting a 2.5-foot setback from the street lot line, as well as a 0-foot setback from the north lot line. That's a setback a foot with a 1-foot overhang. So the overhang would be right at the north lot line. The McHenry Township Road District previously had an issue with the 0-foot setback that was being requested along the street. They've said that they are now accepting of this plan at the 5 feet to the wall, and they're okay with the overhang, encroaching into that. I did want to mention, because the request is for 2.5 feet, I would recommend either putting a condition that we tie this to the site plan so that it shows that the 5 foot must be maintained to the wall, or you can just put a condition that it must be at least 5 feet to the building wall from the street lot line.
Okay. For the record, this is the continuation of the hearing of Christine Kamorlinga, the owner of record, who is requesting a variation within the R1 single-family residential LN district to allow for a street setback of 2.5 feet from the minimum 50 feet required for a detached garage in the effective side yard, and a north side yard setback of 0 feet instead of the minimum 5 feet required for a detached garage. The subject property consists of approximately 1/2 acre, is located on the east side of Wonderwoods Drive, approximately 200 feet north of the intersection with Oak Drive. Common street address is 5504 Wonderwoods Drive, Wonder Lake, Illinois, Township of McHenry, with a tax or PIN of 0906329032, and the current land use is single-family residential, and single-family residential would be the adjacent land use to the north, south, east, and west. Current zoning is R1 single-family residential district, LN, and to the north, south, and east would be R1 single-family residential district /LN, and to the west would be R1 single-family residential LN and B1 neighborhood business district. 2030 plan designates it as residential. And this is a continuation. We do have the prior testimony. I'd ask that that be incorporated into this continued hearing. And for the record, the road commissioner has now withdrawn his objection based on the new site plan. And anybody who's going to make a statement regarding this particular petition, would you please stand and be sworn again? Promise at this time to tell the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help you God.
Always.
Yeah.
I do.
And ma'am, are you in any way involved in this?
Well, her property is right above mine.
Okay, are you going to make a statement?
Now that I know where it's at, I like it just fine.
Okay. At this point, there are no objectors. There was a minor objection to the last hearing. That witness is not here. me, but as to what her concerns were, it asked that they also be incorporated into this record. Do we need to redo the, go through the standards, do you believe?
Did you go through them last time, the standards for?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want me now to speak to that object or last time, because we did talk after the hearing, and she said that she was fine with it, and she might even show up today to support me in support of the plan. In front of me.
Just to clarify, so we make sure that everything is correct for the record, I'm going to go through the standards with you one more time,
Sure.
and we're going to simplify it.
Okay.
So isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon you, the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out? Isn't that true?
That's true.
Good answer. Isn't it also true that the conditions upon which the application for a variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
That is true.
Isn't it also true that the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property? Isn't that true?
That is true.
Isn't it also true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property? Isn't that true?
Yes, that's true.
Isn't it also true that the granting the variation will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located? Isn't that true?
That is true.
Isn't it also true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, or substantially increase the congestion in the public streets, or increase the danger of fire, or endanger the public safety, or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood? Isn't that true?
That is true.
Isn't it also true that the granting of the variation requested will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
That's true.
And you have met with the township commissioner and you made some changes, is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes, we did.
And the changes that they are requesting are those ones that are acceptable to you.
Yes, we came to an agreement.
And Kim, for the record, would you state the condition or conditions that you are requesting that be attached to this?
I would recommend a condition stating that the construction of the garage will be in substantial conformance with the site plan that was submitted on September 20. One second. Sorry, I should have got that date ready. It's dated on the site plan. I just didn't have it.
I'm actually not seeing it.
Yeah, it's in the
Like 2
lower right
weeks.
corner here, September 27th, 2024.
Okay. And I would ask that that site plan be made part of the record. The one that you tendered to me did not have a date on it.
It's really tiny on there, but yes, I will make sure.
It actually is blank.
Oh, it is blank, okay. Then the one I have digitally is accurate, and I will make sure that's on the record.
Yeah, across the street from there.
And you can live with and accept that condition and construct in accordance with it?
Yeah.
Anything else
It
that
is-
you wish to add?
Not really. I think I
Not too much snow this year.
I did pretty much provide, I think, most of the information last time, so don't think there's much more to add. You know, we're willing to work with the road district to, you know, to have this permit passed through them and hopefully the variance as well.
With the continuation of this hearing and the modifications that have been made and the condition that's been suggested and approved, with that condition in place, I would approve this request and recommend that the county board approve it. I appreciate your willingness to work with the township. When is the next meeting?
The county board meeting will be on November 19th,
Okay. And what time would it be?
7 p.m.
You do not have to attend. In all likelihood, your request would be on the consent agenda, would not be individually discussed. They would normally approve it as part of that consent agenda, but if you wish to go there, you have every right to go there. Realize that mine is simply a recommendation. It's up to the county board.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, crossing fingers. Thank you, everybody.
Really? I just cannot believe it. You do nothing terrible about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I will tell you, we had actually a good conversation after, and we're fine, but she was a little concerned about, what it would look like or this and that, so.
So that brings us to the good-looking gentleman sitting over there.
I'm sorry, my hearing aids got ruined in the fire, I can't hardly hear.
Okay, this would be a great conversation because I lost my hearing aids.
Yeah?
Thank you.
We'll just wave at each other.
Yeah. The guy that works for me all the time, 4.5 years, he'll walk up right to me here like that, and he'll say, well, what do you think if I turn his head? I said, I'm reading your lips. I can't hear you.
I will try to speak loudly. If
Thank
you
you.
can't hear me, let me know. This is the variation request, application 2024-53. The applicant is Charles Falsenier as trustee of the Charles Falsenier Revocable Trust. Can you hear me okay so
Yeah.
far? The request is for a variation within the R1 single-family residential LN district to allow for a setback of 25 feet instead of the minimum 30 feet required from the street lot line. The subject property consists of approximately 0.18 acres and is located on the east side of Fox Lake Road, approximately 600 feet south of the intersection of Fox Lake Road and Sunrise Drive. The common street address is 5810 Fox Lake Road, McHenry, Illinois, in the township of McHenry. The tax or PIN is 10-05-207-036. The current land use has the property designation of single-family residential. The adjacent land use is vacant to the north and the south. The east would be the Nippersink Creek. The west is single-family residential. The property is currently zoned R1 Single-Family Residential District /LN. The adjacent zoning would be single-family R1 Residential District /LN to the north, south, and west. To the east would be the Nippersink Creek. The 2030 plan designates this as environmentally sensitive. The property has a frame residence, frame garage, wood decks, and a driveway. And the request is for a variation to allow the applicant to complete a pending building permit K-5272 Phase 1 and K-5422 Phase 2 in order to complete reconstruction of their residence along with a second-story addition after the subject property sustained fire damage. And as the subject property is located within the Legacy Neighborhood Overlay District, reconstruction of the residence would be permitted in its current footprint. The addition of the second story, which encroaches closer to the road than the first floor, triggers the need for the zoning variation. Everyone who's going to testify, would you stand and be sworn? You both promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
We do.
So Kim, what is the history of the property? What happened?
Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but there was fire damage for the residents.
Pretend you were at home and shout at me.
There was a fire at the residence. The property owner had come in to get building permits for reconstruction. During the construction, the second story was constructed differently than what was on the approved building plans. So the top floor, the second story, which is a new addition to the home, did encroach about 2 feet, is about 2 feet
Yeah.
past the front of the existing first floor. So that's,
The overhang.
yes,
Yeah.
so there's a little bump out there. That encroached into the required 30-foot setback, and so the 25-foot setback request would accommodate for that second story bump out.
Okay. Has construction been started yet?
Yes, it is nearly complete, correct?
What's that?
Is the construction nearly complete?
Yeah.
Yes.
And any complaints from any neighbors of any kind?
None that I have heard from.
And there is no court case currently pending, is there?
No.
Everything that he has done so far has been legal and subject to permit?
Yes.
Is there anything that you wish to say?
Nothing, I just, like I said, the overhang is there, and I had the engineer, and he said to me that the easement wasn't recorded or something from years ago, and I said, I don't know, well, that's your job, that's what I'm paying you for,
How long have you lived there?
10 years.
And how long ago was the fire?
September 6th, a year ago.
Okay. And was the whole house burned to the ground?
No, well, they made me raise it because of the flood, okay?
Okay.
But the downstairs, if you will, the middle section, that's identical to what it was to the beginning, with the exception, if you look at the front, like where the garbage can is, that window to the far left, that was a bedroom, and right across the hall was another bedroom. But in the meantime, maybe a year prior to the house burning, the other bedroom, I eliminated it, made a utility room. So in effect, I only had one bedroom. So when they made me raise it up, I said, well, if I gotta raise it up, it'd be stupid for me not to have the upstairs, because now if you look at the upstairs, the middle section, if I'd have raised that up and the downstairs, if had I not put windows, it looked terrible. It'd be 15 feet going up with nothing, just, nothing. You'd be looking at it, I said, I can't have that, it looked terrible. But other than that, I've been there 10 years, I want to die there, it's paid for, I love it, and that's it, that's the bottom line.
Well, how about if I pass a condition that you have to live there 15 years?
I hope so. I mean, he was, if I should make it another 5 years, after that, who cares? My son can deal with it,
Kim,
I almost died in that bedroom. I was in the bedroom sleeping when it caught on fire. Yeah, I made it to Vietnam. I almost died in my bedroom. Isn't that something?
Kim, what is the situation with the floodplain?
Well, the property is in floodplain, so a stormwater permit is a part of the building permit application, so that will be approved along with the building permit once all of those requirements are met.
All right, but has that process already been done?
The review has been done. The stormwater permit has not been issued yet because it will be issued as part of the building permit. But I believe that raising the structure was part of their requirements.
Yeah.
Are there weep holes on that lower level?
I don't know. Are there weep holes on the lower level?
I'm sorry, is it what?
Is that what they're called, weep holes? Are there weep holes?
Repos.
Weep holes?
Openings in the lower level
yeah.
where the water could come in if it's
Oh, yeah,
flooded?
that was downstairs to begin with. It had a foundation.
Okay. So the lower level has no living space at all?
Nothing there.
Okay.
Yeah, that to me was the craziest part because there was absolutely nothing in there, And before I had a crawl where I could go in and get in there. Now I can stand up and I can reach higher than that. I said, okay, I don't care.
Any issues with the septic since the structure is larger?
The septic, well, the health department does have to submit their approval before we can issue the building permit. Do you remember?
Yeah, they had the inspection.
The health department has already
Well,
completed?
they helped them, but they had an inspector, had to come out and inspect it,
Okay,
because it was 2 bedroom to begin with, and it's still 2 bedroom. It's not-
okay. So if it's a 1-for-1?
Yeah, when I eliminated that bedroom downstairs, that was the utility room. But I did that like a year before this happened.
You seem like a nice man, so if I ask you a series of questions, as a nice man, will you say yes? You're supposed to say yes now.
Yes, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon you, the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Good answer. You're doing well.
What?
No, what?
Isn't it frustrating when you lose, you have a hearing problem too?
Yes.
And people don't realize when you have that, and you try to tell them, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, and then they get mad. Why don't you get some hearing aid? They got destroyed in a fire, and I don't have $8,000 to buy another pair.
Isn't it true that the conditions upon which the application for a variation are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property?
Yes.
Isn't that true? Isn't it true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property? Isn't that true? Isn't it also true that the granting of the variation will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located? Isn't that true? Isn't it true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property or substantially increase congestion in the public streets or increase the danger of fire or endanger the public safety or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood? Isn't that
Yes.
true? Isn't it true that the granting of the variation requested will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure in the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Kim, is there anything else that you wish to add?
I have nothing further.
I would approve this request. This will go to the county board for their vote on this, and that date again is,
November 19th.
Okay, thanks.
you do not have to be there. If you
Okay.
want to be there, you can. You will then be notified. Mine is only a recommendation. The county board can approve based on my recommendation
Right.
or not. I would tend to think they will approve your request.
Right. Okay.
You are free to go, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it. If there's the next meeting, if I make it, okay, and if I don't, I'm dead.
You're going to live another 15 or 20 years, sir.
Who wants to?
That's a,
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
as I just turned 76, I completely underhanded the statement about not wanting to live another